Hi everyone. I am coming to you from my home in Hawaii, where I've been since last Sunday. I hope you'll excuse my appearance. I think, like many of you, I decided to let things go a little natural as far as my head and facial hair go. Call it quarantine chic. Anyway, I wanted to let you know that yesterday I tested positive for COVID-19, the disease caused by the coronavirus. So first, the details. For the past several weeks, I was in New York shooting a role on a TV series where, ironically, I play a doctor who gets recruited to a hospital to help patients during a flu pandemic. Now, when the news of the virus hitting America started coming in, that show, like eventually all the others, stopped production. And when it did, the first thing I wanted to do was go back to Hawaii and to my family. Now, it's important for you guys to know that I was asymptomatic during all of this time. But as the flight was close to landing, I started noticing some scratchiness in my throat, which is unlike how I usually get sick. So when I landed, I called my family doctor in Hawaii, and he told me to monitor my symptoms. To be safe, when I got home, I quarantined myself in a room in the house and tried to rest on my own. But later that night, I started feeling tightness in my chest, body aches, and my temperature started to rise. So he then told me to get tested. So the next day, I went to a drive-through testing facility that had just opened here in Honolulu, and the test was given to me by some incredibly professional and kind caregivers. The test itself was really awkward and a little painful because they shove a huge swab into your nose and into your throat, but it was worth it because of what I found out. They told me that I would have my results back in 3 days, and that was Wednesday morning. And in the meantime, my doctor prescribed some medication, and I went straight home. I guess it's worth mentioning at this point that that was the only time I left my house since arriving back in Hawaii. I self-isolated the entire time, and even though I was with my family, I was in an entirely separate part of the house. That part is important for later. So, just so you guys know, I never went to a hospital, but with the help of the medication and bed rest and liquids and, of course, my loving family, I didn't need to. I actually started feeling better the day after, and I started feeling a little better the day after that. And today, even though I'm not 100%, I'm pretty close. So I was not asymptomatic, which is also an important thing to point out. A lot of younger people can carry the virus without having any symptoms whatsoever. That was not me. I was sick. I still am. But thankfully for me, it wasn't a matter of life and death. But even though I'm smiling and upbeat right now, for several days, I was in bed. So for all those out there, especially teenagers and millennials who think this is not serious, please know that it is. And if you treat this without care, you are potentially endangering the lives of millions of people, including your loved ones. So for the sake of everyone else, please follow the guidelines. Socially distance, self-isolate, stop touching your face, and of course, wash your hands. Now, I debated for a long time about actually publicly talking about my diagnosis because I've read some backlash against those who did, saying that they got special treatment. And though I risk that now, let me just say that I never asked for or expected special treatment from anyone. And I will add that I believe that healthcare for all is a right, not a privilege. And not just healthcare, but quality healthcare. Everyone who meets the qualifications to be tested should be, period. Because the virus doesn't care about race or gender, religion, sexual orientation, whether you're rich or poor, or your immigration status, Only we seem to care about that. I was fortunate, and I'm grateful. So speaking of grateful, I want to let you all know that my family all got tested because of my positive result. And I'm very relieved to report that they are all negative. Anyway, so hopefully I'm on the other side of this, and it's also a good time to say that I'm grateful to my doctors, especially here, the ones here in Hawaii, because they were so quick to respond and so thorough with my care. Healthcare providers are the ones who are on the front line of this fight. Doctors, nurses, along with every other kind of caregiver. They risk their lives every day for the rest of us, and many have given their lives in the process. So I just want to say thank you to all of you around the world. And to everyone who continues to work at grocery stores and pharmacies and airlines, taxis or ride-sharing cars, any other necessary service during this crisis, you're often taken for granted, but not now. Now you're the glue that is keeping us together. And to the people that I came into contact with during the incubation period, I want to sincerely apologize. Though I had no way of knowing, and I was trying to be as careful as I could, I feel terrible thinking that I could have given this to anyone, let alone people I value enough to spend time with. And this, of course, includes the cast and crew of New Amsterdam. Now, I've been told by Universal that they are taking this matter very seriously and are working closely with a team of doctors to ensure the safety of anyone who might have been impacted by working with me over that period. And to you guys, I'm so sorry. I've really, really enjoyed working with you all. And one last very important thing. Please stop the prejudice and senseless violence against Asian people. Randomly beating elderly, sometimes homeless Asian Americans is cowardly, heartbreaking, and it's inexcusable. Yes, I'm Asian. And yes, I have coronavirus, but I did not get it from China. I got it in America, in New York City. And despite what certain political leaders want to call it, I don't consider the place where it's from as important as the people who are sick and dying. If I did, I would call this thing the New York virus, but that would be silly, right? Anyway, the point is, the name calling gets us nowhere. When people are ill, what matters most is how best to take care of ourselves and one another. And by the way, one way we can do that in our own communities is to patronize our local mom and pop shops when we go shopping for necessary supplies and groceries, or order takeout from our favorite neighborhood restaurants because they need us now more than ever. The places that you love when times are good are the same ones that are in danger of disappearing in times like this. So now as I spend a chunk of time in quarantine, I'm starting to see a lot of silver linings to this cloud. One is that by getting this message out, I hope I'm able to help someone who is showing symptoms and doesn't quite know what to do. Or just as important, help someone better prevent the transmission of the disease. I guess another silver lining is that with any luck, I will have actually built up an immunity to this virus when all is said and done. So I may not actually need the vaccine when it comes out. I hope it comes soon, though, and I will gladly contribute in any way I can, including donating antibodies in the pursuit of finding a vaccine for everyone. The other silver lining is that I'm reminded of how lucky I am to have such wonderful people in my life. My family, my friends, my colleagues, my fans, all of you. Thank you. And I guess it's nice to be mentioned in the same breath as Tom Hanks and Idris Elba, two of my favorite actors. I guess I'm in some pretty good company. And finally, I'm grateful to be alive and healthy. It gives me hope that through our collective efforts, we can beat this thing and flatten the curve. So that's it. I'll give you guys updates here as necessary. But in the meantime, please be safe, please be healthy, and please be kind to one another. And stop hoarding the toilet paper. Seriously, how dirty are you down there? Aloha, everyone.